Hello and welcome, Namaskar, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day, but we are there with the news as always on the News Today. The big talking point today, Christmas in crosshairs, no end to attacks on certain Christian-run establishments. What will it take to act against anti-Christmas Hindutva groups? Also, what role will Tarique Rahman play in the future of Bangladesh? Is he the face of what happens next across the border? All that and more. But our top story today, it's Christmas Day and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached out to the Christian community by attending a church service in the national capital. The prayers were led by Reverend Paul Swarup, who also had a special prayer for Prime Minister Modi. But the Prime Minister's attendance in church has been shadowed by a week in which there have been attacks on Christian and Christian-run institutions in different parts of the country, from Kerala to Assam to Chhattisgarh, Odisha and other states. Many of the church leaders, including archbishops, have spoken out today against these attacks and called for immediate action. The opposition too is saying that the Prime Minister must act against these groups, which they say are destroying the spirit of harmony at Christmas, especially Hindutva groups like the VHP and Bajrang Dal. It's our top story today.
Hymns, special prayers and a message of inclusivity. With the world and the country soaked in Christmas celebrations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended prayers at the Cathedral Church of the Redemption in Delhi. Modi has been following this tradition for many years now, reaching out to the Christian community on Christmas and Easter.
This morning we pray particularly for our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, that you would anoint him afresh with your Holy Spirit. Empower him, Lord.
Later, at an event to mark the birth anniversary of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the PM extended his Christmas wishes.
भारत में भी करोड़ों ईसाई परिवार आज उत्सव मना रहे हैं। क्रिसमस का ये उत्सव सभी के जीवन में खुशियां लाए, ये हम सभी की कामना है।
However, Christmas celebrations were disturbed by right-wing groups in multiple cities. In Chhattisgarh, Raipur, VHP and Bajrang Dal workers vandalized a Christmas bash. In Nalbari in Assam, Christmas decorations at a school were set on fire. In Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh, Bajrang Dal members protested outside a church and raised slogans. In Kerala, an alleged RSS worker this week targeted a carol organized by school children. A BJP leader accused the revelers of being drunk, sparking a showdown.
പൊതുസമൂഹത്തിന് മുന്നിൽ മദ്യപിച്ചിട്ട് അവിടെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ രതീഷ് എന്നുള്ള പ്രവർത്തകൻ കൊല ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ട സ്ഥലമാണ് കാളാണ്ടിത്തറ. അവിടേക്ക് ബോധപൂർവം സംഘർഷമുണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട് CPM-ന്റെ ക്രിമിനൽ സംഘം പോയതാ. എവിടെയെങ്കിലും ബാൻഡ് ഇതിൽ CPIM-ന്റെ ബാൻഡ് ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് കരോൾ നടത്തുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ?
പാലക്കാട് പുതുശ്ശേരിയിൽ കുട്ടികൾ അടങ്ങുന്ന കരോൾ സംഘത്തിന് നേരെ സംഘപരിവാർ അക്രമമുണ്ടായി. ഈ അക്രമി സംഘത്തെ ന്യായീകരിച്ചാണ് BJP നേതാക്കൾ രംഗത്ത് വന്നത്. ന്യായീകരണങ്ങളാണ് ചില മുതിർന്ന നേതാക്കളായവർ തന്നെ നിരത്തിയത്.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin took on Prime Minister Modi over the incidents. He said that when a few right-wing violent groups acting in the name of the majority indulge in attacks and riots, even as the Prime Minister participates in Christmas celebrations, it sends the disturbing message to the nation. A Kerala Archbishop also raised similar concerns.
ഒരു വശത്ത് പ്രധാനമന്ത്രി ഒരു ദേവാലയത്തിൽ പോയി ക്രിസ്മസിന്റെ സന്തോഷത്തിൽ ആഘോഷത്തിൽ സംബന്ധിക്കുന്നു. വേറൊരു സ്ഥലത്ത് ഇതിന് നേരെ വിപരീതമായ കാര്യം നടക്കുന്നു.
The targeting of Christmas celebrations in many parts of the country has cast a shadow on Prime Minister Modi's outreach to the Christian community. With Shivimol KG, Bureau Report, India Today.
So on a day when Prime Minister Modi attended that church service, let me go to a very special guest. I'm joined by Reverend Paul Swarup of the Church of North India. He conducted the prayer ceremony which the Prime Minister attended. Appreciate you joining us. First of all, Reverend, Merry Christmas and season's greetings to you and everyone near and dear to you.
Thank you so much, Rajdeep. Merry Christmas to you and all your viewers as well.
Reverend, you led the prayer service at the church which the Prime Minister attended, the Christmas service. Did you invite the Prime Minister for it, or was it a spontaneous decision from the Prime Minister's office from 7 Lokpal Marg? When did you know that the Prime Minister was going to attend this service?
I think it was both. I mean, it was a spontaneous gesture in the sense that he just wanted to come and pray. And we said, yes, absolutely, he's most welcome to come and be part of our prayer service on Christmas morning. So that is how it was.
Did you get a chance to speak to the Prime Minister, and what did he say to you at the service?
Today, we didn't really speak about anything. He just participated in the entire worship service. He joined us in the morning, sang the carols, and, followed the reading of scriptures, said the liturgical prayers, and enjoyed a couple of Hindi carols which were sung. And then he came up for some silent prayer which he prayed on his own. And then I prayed for him from the high altar for God's blessings on him as he leads our nation.
Reverend, the fact is that while the Prime Minister attending a church service does send out a positive and hopeful message, the truth is in the last week we've had several stories, visuals, videos playing out of Christian congregations ahead of Christmas being targeted by groups of the VHP and the Bajrang Dal in particular. We saw that terrible incident in Jabalpur that we reported, a local BJP leader abusing and assaulting a visually impaired woman. How do you then reconcile the fact that the Prime Minister attends the church service and what we are seeing with Sangh Parivar and other Hindutva activists doing to Christians on the ground?
Rajdeep, I think today is a day of celebration and a day of prayer. For a Prime Minister to come and pray in a church, what better thing could have happened? There are issues. We are not hiding anything under the carpet. They have to be addressed, and they will be addressed at the appropriate time. We will approach the PM when these issues have to be addressed. And many of our colleagues have already been addressing these issues.
You're saying you will address this at the appropriate time. I'm not clear by what is the appropriate time, because year after year, we are seeing the number of attacks actually increasing. In fact, today many bishops, the Archbishop in Kerala, Catholic Bishop Conference of India, President Archbishop Andrews, others have come out strongly and appealed to the Prime Minister to ensure strict enforcement of the law, to provide proactive protection to Christian communities. But nothing seems to change on the ground. So what is this appropriate time? Shouldn't all of this worry you? Shouldn't the Christian leadership now take a much stronger stand? Instead of waiting for an appropriate time, actually say enough is enough?
I think, Rajdeep, today is not the time to raise that issue. If a person comes into the church for prayers, I don't think that is the time to raise these kind of issues with him. So, yes, I completely agree with you that there have been a lot of violence against the Christian community. We are not denying that, and nor are we condoning that. Definitely, we condemn all kinds of violence, and particularly against the Christian community. We condemn that. We don't stand for that, and we will oppose that. And we have been fighting it, particularly through the Alliance for the Defense of Freedom. We have been challenging those things, getting our pastors out from prison and in the courts as well. So whatever recourse is available to us, we are using those avenues.
You know, you're saying Christmas Day is not the appropriate time in a way to raise it with the Prime Minister. I'll play those shots once again of the Prime Minister attending the church service. But with due regard, don't you think the Prime Minister and indeed ministers need to walk the talk to restore the confidence that you and others can have tea with the Prime Minister, bishops can go and meet the Prime Minister, but what happens to the ordinary Christians? The ordinary Christian tribal in a village in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand is extremely vulnerable. So you are protected in a way, but what about the ordinary Christians? Who's going to stand up for them and speak for them?
Absolutely, I can't agree with you more. And those incidents have also reached the Prime Minister's office from our own colleagues who raised it up. And, things have changed. Some of those things have changed in Chhattisgarh particularly.
But what has changed now? You're saying something has changed, Reverend. I want to understand what has changed, because the fact is that we've continued to see even more intensified targeted attacks. I just look at the numbers. The numbers have gone up of attacks on Christians in the last decade. And a number of those who've converted have said that they feel isolated and ostracized in the village. So what really has changed when you say change is there?
No, I was talking about one particular incident where the PMO's office intervened in terms of those nuns who were arrested, and then the PMO's office intervened and they were released. So that was the issue I was talking about.
But would you shouldn't this become a sustained attempt that anyone who commits these acts is prosecuted and given severe punishment? You want to see much more surely of a climate where Christians don't feel hounded for just practicing their religion or celebrating Christmas.
I can't agree with you more, Rajdeep. We are a free country, and the Constitution gives us the right to preach and propagate and practice our faith. So that is a fundamental right that is enshrined in the Constitution. And I don't think anybody can challenge that or take it away from us. So we will stand for that.
So what will you tell those, Father? What will you tell, Father, those who say the Christian leadership needs to do much more in terms of sending out a stronger message to those in power rather than simply courting those in power? Is the Christian leadership intimidated and fearful, as some argue, of those in power, sir?
Rajdeep, I don't think that's the way we need to read that. I think, first of all, relationships need to be built, confidence needs to be restored, and then we can really engage in heart-to-heart issues, raise up some of these core issues which the Christian community is facing. I mean, if we don't reach out, or if he doesn't reach out, I think this is a good gesture on the Prime Minister's part to reach out. And I think this is a step in the right direction, and that, once there is a relationship that is, engaging, then we can raise these issues with him, speak to him as a person whom we know.
My final question, Reverend, what's your message to larger society? Because there will be a number of them who are listening to this show who will say, we've seen Christian pastors being accused of engaging in forcible conversions, inducement, and all of this has created an anti-missionary mindset in the minds of some people. What is your message, therefore, to the wider society, not just Christians, but across the board? What is your message to those who seem to believe that all that Christian missionaries do is engage in conversion?
I think that is a false narrative that has been built over a period of time just to tarnish the image of Christians, that Western money is coming in and we are using foreign funds and that we are converting people. That is far from the truth. That's on one side. If we have been converting people, offering money, why is the percentage of Christians still at 2.3%? I mean, it should have been, much, much more, but that is not happening. Secondly, the other side of the coin is that every person has the right to practice the religion of their choice. The government or anybody cannot tell me which religion I need to practice. That is my free choice. It is my personal choice. And the Constitution enshrines that choice for me. So I don't think a third person should be concerned about the faith I practice or preach or propagate. That is my right.
Reverend Paul Swarup of the Church of North India for joining me on the show today on this day of Christmas. Once again, Merry Christmas, Reverend. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Rajdeep, and Merry Christmas to you and to all your viewers. And thank you for talking to me. God bless you.
So let's raise the big questions then on a political face-off. What will it take to act against groups who target Christians? Political will missing to act against likes of Bajrang Dal? Will Prime Minister attending a church service on Christmas make any difference? Too many optics, not enough action on the ground. Joining me now, two very special guests. John Brittas is the CPIM's Member of Parliament in the Rajya Sabha. He joins me from Thiruvananthapuram, and I'm joined by KJ Alphons. He's been a former Union Minister in the Modi government. Appreciate both of you joining us. Merry Christmas, first of all, to both of you above all else, and lots of good cheer hopefully will be spread. But Mr. Brittas, I want to ask you the big question. You've been questioning the manner in which you say groups like the VHP, Bajrang Dal have been given a free run to target Christians. Today, the Prime Minister made a visit, prayed at a church service in the national capital. Do you believe that sends out a strong message or not?
Rajdeep, see, it's like running with the hare and hunting with the horns. That's what is happening here. The Prime Minister must have spent at least 3 to 4 hours this week, apart from attending the Christian service today. He attended a Christian feast also, along with the bishops. If he had taken 2 minutes to address this nation saying that the attack on Christians is an attack against the Indian Constitution, India against me, anybody who indulges in would be taken to task. If he had taken out 2 minutes and addressed this nation, it would have been of greater help than he attending such feast. And I can tell you he has been conducting this drill of attending feast and church services for last many years. Last year also he did it. But the incidents, the violence against the Christian community has gone up only. It's almost like 500% spike. In 2014, the attacks against Christians was 124. By 2024, it reached 834. This year itself, till November, it's 700. After Christmas, I'm sure that it will hit at least 1,000. This duplicity, I think this has to end. The trust deficit has to be bridged. And we are all condemning the incidents in Bangladesh. What is the message this country wants to send across? Think about a scenario where this Christian community is a majority. Those countries, if there are protests against what's happening in India, it's a sad state of affairs. I am pleading with my friend Alphons Kandandana. He has a past. He was an aspirant. He was also part of the church. He should at least impress upon those people who are conducting these vigilante groups. I won't call it, they are somebody outside the spectrum of RSS. It's a multi-headed hydra. It's a saffron octopus with many tentacles, which anybody and everybody who knows with the politics of India is familiar with. I think they need to, the government has to have a will. At least the Prime Minister or the Home Minister should come forward and say, this nonsense should stop here. But so far, not even a single message has been emanated.
Okay.
These people go to the bishop houses with the cakes, then attack the Christians, vandalize the churches, destroy the schools elsewhere. At least in 12 states, they have passed anti-conversion laws precisely to persecute the Christian. And what is the percentage of Christians in this country? 2.3%. Even in Britain, the Hindu community must be, if you add these six.
I take your... John, you made very strong points. Let Mr. Alphons respond. Mr. Alphons, I think the primary fear is that the words need to... be matched by action. It's one thing, or not even the words, the fact that there are optics. It's good to have the Prime Minister go to a church service, meet the bishops, but what about sending a strong, tough message on the ground, prosecuting those responsible for the attacks, whether they are from the Sangh Parivar or any group? We don't see that action on the ground, and this, according to John Brittas, has led to a trust deficit. How do you respond?
I think it's very clear. The Honorable Prime Minister has made it repeatedly clear to the nation, including address of the Vigyan Bhavan. I think John Brittas wasn't there, didn't hear about it. Made it very clear that this country belongs to everybody, that this nation belongs to everybody, that he works in the interest of everybody. He will protect and preserve the Constitution. He will protect the right to life and the right to liberty of every citizen. He's made it very, very clear in Christian meetings or otherwise. And John, you must be, you've been in politics long enough. You must
But then
be
what
real
explains
enough.
the attacks? What explains, what explains the increased attacks then? What explains the fact that the number of attacks have increased? Go ahead, please.
Rajdeep, I mean, John let out a lot of figures. I have no means to verify it. Even you won't have a means to verify it just now because he just lets it out now. I don't trust his numbers. In a country of 1.47 billion people, Rajdeep, there is bound to be some crazy people, some nuts. Now, let me take my own church. I'm a Syrian Catholic. The entire diocese of Ernakulam, the laity is up in arms against the head of the church. They want to kill him. They want to murder him. They want to replace him. It's been going on for the past 5 years. My own Syrian Catholic church, John, you are aware of that. Therefore, there are enough crazy people in this country, in the world. I mean, look at the US. Every day there is a shooting happening in every city. Take European countries. Do we call them absolutely anarchical countries? You don't. When this happens in India, you can kind of convert small little incidents into massive things, and you say every time anything happens, somebody touches somebody else, Modi must answer, the Prime Minister is responsible. I think this is not rational. This is irrational. In a large country like ours, where you have huge difference in culture, language, heritage, there is bound to be friction, and India has managed pretty well. And Christians in India have done pretty well. Take the Syrian Christian community. I mean, the majority of Christians in India live in Kerala. They have absolutely no problem. Who is ever
Yeah,
attacked
because
them?
BJP has never ruled Kerala, Alphons. That's why.
It's part of
You're absolutely
India,
correct.
John. It's
Let
very much part of
John,
India.
let him complete. Let Mr.
Therefore,
Alphons
Rajdeep,
complete. No, let Mr. Alphons complete.
Let me complete. And therefore,
Yes.
see, the Prime
Go
Minister
ahead.
has made it very clear this is not permissible. He said that in Vigyan Bhavan in the meeting of Christian bishops many years back. John was not aware of this. The Prime Minister has repeatedly said this Constitution of India will be implemented in the country, irrespective of religious beliefs. Now, if you crazy people do this, you can't really blame the Prime Minister or the party which is in power. Let me ask you, John, you talked about the anti-conversion bill. Who introduced the anti-conversion bill in India? It was in 1967 in Madhya Pradesh when Congress was in power. They introduced anti-conversion bills in 6 states ruled by the Congress. Was it BJP which did this? The biggest communal violence in India happened when the Congress was in power. When you were in power, you were supporting the Congress party. How many communal clashes happened, John, in this country? Are you blind to all these things? Are you blind to what happened in China during the Cultural Revolution or under Lenin? 25 million people killed. You don't have a word, a decibel to say about these things. You talk about when you have a complicated...
1 minute. Okay. Can I... Yeah, before I go back to John, you've used the word crazies 3 times, Mr. Alphons. Are you saying that groups like the Bajrang Dal and VHP, which are part of a wider Sangh Parivar, which John Brittas is saying is a Hydra-headed entity, I mean, these are part of the wider Sangh Parivar. If the Prime Minister cannot control them, who is he to control? Surely these are groups. One strong message from the RSS Sar Sangh Chalak or from the Prime Minister surely will at least send a signal. You need to prosecute the likes of that Anju Bhargava who assaulted a visually impaired woman. The moment you do that, the moment you arrest and prosecute them under strict laws, surely that will be the message. That will be more effective, many believe, than simply going and praying in church.
Rajdeep, let me come in here. Rajdeep, you talked about the RSS. The RSS chief has repeatedly said, I can send you 10 clippings, where he said this country belongs to Hindus, Christians, Muslims, and Sikhs. He said nobody has a monopoly on India, on culture. We all need to survive here together, live here peacefully, happily. And today, Christmas is a day of happiness, of peace. And therefore, Rajdeep, when there are some hooligans out there in a country of 1.47 billion people, there are bound to be some hooligans out there. Like I said in my church, there are plenty of hooligans. You can't really blame the Prime Minister or the party in power every time somebody just pushes somebody around. Sorry, all this is unacceptable. I completely agree. None of these incidents are acceptable at all. Absolutely zero tolerance towards any of these things. But in a country where you don't control everything, John Brittas, you don't even control your own children, do you? I don't. They do things on their own free will. In a country of 1.47 billion people,
let
how do
Mr.
you do that?
Brittas.
Rajdeep, I'm completely
Okay,
taken
let Mr.
aback.
Brittas respond. The point that Mr. Alphons is making, that a few instances, according to him, in a country of 1.47 billion people, you can't use these few instances, according to him, few. I feel even one instance is one instance too many, but you can't use it to expect the Prime Minister to act in each instance or target him in each instance.
Rajdeep, I'm completely taken aback with the statement made by my honorable friend. See, he's saying that some people who are nuts, lunatics are making it. Is he not aware of the fact that the Sangh Parwar organizations called for a bandh in Chhattisgarh on Christmas Eve? Is he not aware of the fact that VSP issued a circular that the Hindus should not participate in Christian celebration? Is he not aware about the fact that their district vice president was involved, as Rajdeep said, in attacking a visually impaired woman? Is he not aware about the fact that even in the capital city in Lajpat Nagar, just because women and children were wearing Santa caps, they were attacked? Is he not aware about the circular issued by certain schools and departments, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, that this will not be Christmas, this will be adult celebration? Is he not aware about the statement issued by the CBCI, which hosted the Prime Minister, that there is a spike in the attack against the Christians? This is something which is very tragic. Is he not aware about that? Is he not living in India? I am surprised. Even the hate and hatred is reaching the shores of Kerala. The other day in Kerala, the RSS people attacked a person saying that he's a Bangladeshi. He was from Chhattisgarh. And another day, they attacked a carol in Kerala. The same people who visit the bishop houses with the cakes have the audacity to say all this nonsense. And I am telling you that, is it not a fact that the CBCI hosted the Prime Minister last year? And the CBCI issued a statement 2 days back saying that the attacks that are happening in Jabalpur, attacks happening in Madhya Pradesh, attacks happening in Chhattisgarh, UP, Uttarakhand, Assam are something which are condemnable, and the government of India needs to act. How is it that a person who is learned like Alphons Kannandanam is oblivious about the fact? And Rajdeep, I was surprised if the Prime Minister had.
Rajdeep, I have to go. I have to go because I have an appointment. If you give me 1 minute, if you give me Rajdeep 1 minute,
I'll get you a last word, Mr. Alphons.
I have to go because I have an appointment.
If the Prime Minister had attached 1% of sincerity with regard to the post he'd made it, saying that Christmas is a timeless message of love, peace, compassion. May the spirit of Xmas inspire harmony and goodwill. My good God, he should exhort his fellow passengers. He should exhort his fellow travelers in Sangh Parivar. And as I told you, now I am sure that Sangh Parivar must have started another organization of nuts and lunatics. If they say that this has been done by nuts and lunatics, like the N number of
let me get.
They would have formed
Mr. Brittas, you made some very strong points. Let Mr. Alphons, who has to leave, respond to that. Mr. Alphons, the fact is, I mean, look at Uttar Pradesh. All schools mandatorily no holiday on Christmas, Good Governance Day. There are calls for Bandh given by organizations like Bajrang Dal in some tribal areas. There are pressures put on those who've converted, tribals who have converted, they're ostracized. There's a sense that this is being organized. Earlier it used to be stray instances. The fear is now they feel empowered and can act with impunity. That no one will touch us because somehow or the other, the leadership in power, whatever they may say in public, privately says, there is a problem with Christianity. There are too many people being forcibly converted. And that is leading to them feeling a sense being emboldened. Ideologically, they are all one. That's the fear.
Rajdeep, what Brittas is saying is complete untruth. The RSS has never said we don't celebrate Christmas. If there is some small little tiny organization in a village level or a panchayat level says that, come on, Brittas, you can't make that as a national call of the RSS or of the ruling party.
Children are not being given a holiday. Sir, the children are not officially being given holiday in India's most populous state of Uttar Pradesh.
Rajdeep, in every school, in every church, children gather in the school on Christmas Day for Christmas celebrations. So the school celebrating Christmas is not a surprise. All across the country, Christian schools celebrate Christmas, and therefore today children not being allowed to stay home. No, Christmas is celebrated in every Christian school. In these states also they are celebrating. So even UP, they say come to the school, celebrate anything you want, including Christmas.
They celebrate
And therefore,
Rajdeep, they celebrate
for
on
these
the previous
isolated
day.
incidents, Rajdeep, I can point out
John, let him complete. John, let him complete.
A million cases in communist ruled Kerala where there is absolute violation of fundamental rights. He mentioned about a Aligarh case where a person was killed. It's absolutely unacceptable. The entire Kerala has risen up as one. Nobody has ever said it's an RSS person. John, you are completely wrong. Your government in Kerala has completely failed in maintaining law and order, protecting life. And now you come around and say an RSS person is killed? John, this is atrocious. You don't know what is happening in your own state. Set your state right, John, before you talk about the country. We want a country that will be peace on earth. We want a message of Jesus that we all live peacefully all across India. The Prime Minister has said that many times. The RSS chief has said many times. Now, if some crazy people here and there do crazy things, please do not hold the Prime Minister. You are much more responsible. You are much more intelligent than that to say these things. Sorry, Rajdeep, I have to run because I have an appointment. Thank you so much.
Okay. I want to leave both of you there. No, I appreciate both of you. I want to again wish you a Merry Christmas. But I believe that the true spirit of Christmas is not just saying Merry Christmas. Let me then bring you my take. Okay, my take. It's Christmas, a day of joy and good cheer and hope, which is why it is depressing that on a day like this, we should be trapped in the politics of hate, bigotry, and indeed in some instances, violence. The Prime Minister did well to send out a positive message by attending a church service. But I'm afraid that such meetings end up being lip service if not followed by concrete action on the ground. Especially when groups like Bajrang Dal and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, part of the wider Sangh Parivar, are no longer the crazies that you might assume they to be, but they keep targeting Christian schools, establishments, especially in tribal areas, in the belief that they have some kind of immunity from the law. Make no mistake, I repeat, these groups are part of a wider ideological mindset. Words therefore need to translate into concrete action on the ground. Else I'm afraid it becomes a case of running with the hare with fine optics, but then hunting with the hound when it comes to targeted attacks. And yes, my friends, please tell me, why is it that in India's most populous state of Uttar Pradesh, Christmas is not a holiday for schools there, especially in a country where we give holidays for every religious festival? What is this Good Governance Day that we've suddenly brought in on the 25th of December? Truth is, these are dangerous messages because they only lead to the brainwashing of the young, that you don't even need necessarily to celebrate Christmas. Oh, by the way, I know many Hindutva-minded people, even in Uttar Pradesh, who are desperate to send their children to Christian-run missionary schools. The hypocrisy, my friends, is staggering and must end now. Think about it. Okay, that debate then leads me to my ground report today, which comes from Chhattisgarh's Kanked district, where a converted family has claimed that a group of 30 people attacked them on Christmas Eve, insisting that they reconvert to Hinduism. The family says they converted decades ago and lived peacefully until the recent rise in the anti-conversion campaign. Tensions have grown after the incident, with several groups protesting against alleged forced conversions. The controversy has also sparked a wider debate about faith, coercion, and the safety of Christian communities, especially in Chhattisgarh's tribal belt. Sumi Rajappan has today's ground report.
This is one of the remotest villages of Kanked district, far from towns, administration and media glare. It is here that a lone converted family claims it was attacked on December 24th. According to the family, nearly 30 men from different groups reached the village, allegedly pressuring them to return to their former faith. When they refused, the situation escalated into threats and intimidation. The family says they converted decades ago, lived peacefully for years and never faced opposition until now, when the larger conversion controversy reached their doorstep. Earlier, our team spoke to another family that converted nearly 25 years ago. They insist their decision was voluntary, driven by personal belief, not coercion.
लगभग ये 24 से 25 साल लगभग हो रहे हैं।
24 से 25 साल हो रहे हैं। क्यों आपने अपना मूल धर्म छोड़ दिया था और दूसरे धर्म में आप आए?
मेरे को वहाँ का जो शिक्षा, वहाँ के वो बातें, रहन सहन अच्छा लगा, इसलिए मैं इस एक को मैंने मानना शुरू किया।
But the recent Kanked incident reignited tensions. Sarva Samaj organizations alleged forced conversions and cultural erosion. In protest, they organized a bandh across parts of Chhattisgarh, demanding strict enforcement of anti-conversion laws.
निश्चित रूप से भारी प्रलोभन देकर और उनके घर तक, किचन तक घुस करके उनको कहीं स्वास्थ्य का लाभ देना, कहीं आर्थिक लाभ देना, कहीं और किसी प्रकार का कोई प्रलोभन दे करके और उनको मतांतरित कर रहे थे, और ये इसमें बिल्कुल रुकावट आनी चाहिए। सरकार निश्चित रूप से इसके ऊपर कोई ठोस कदम उठाएगी, क्योंकि सरकार भी इसके लिए संजीदा है, चिंतित है कि देश में एक अच्छा सौहार्दपूर्ण माहौल हो और आपस में सब भाईचारे से रहें।
Our reporter Gaurav Srivastav spoke to a pastor who has now returned to his former religion following the Kanked controversy.
पत्नी है, अपना जो बेटा है, उससे मैं सलाह मशवरा किया, तो मेरी पत्नी, मेरा बेटा बोला कि अब कोई आपको साथ नहीं दे रहे हैं, जो आपके साथ खड़े होंगे, बोले वो सब जब आपके सामने अब ये मुसीबत आया है, खड़ा नहीं है, तो क्यों ना हम जिस समाज में पहले रहते थे वही में हम मूल धर्म में वापस आकर उनके साथ हम जुड़ेंगे कि हमारा सुरक्षा हो सके।
From personal faith choices to allegations of coercion, from protests to violence in remote villages, the Kanked controversy reflects a deep and complex reality. As the administration says it is verifying facts and ensuring security, the December 24th attack raises a critical question. Can freedom of faith be exercised without fear in Chhattisgarh's tribal heartland? With Sumi Keval Patel, in Chhattisgarh, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's turn from there to our other big story today, which is coming from neighboring Bangladesh, where former Bangladesh Prime Minister Khaleda Zia's son Tarique Rahman has landed in Dhaka 17 years after remaining in exile to a rapturous welcome. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party leader is expected to play a major role in the elections that are scheduled in February next year. Remember, Sheikh Hasina's Awami League is not being allowed to contest those elections, and the BNP could therefore emerge as the most likely party in power. Will Tarique Rahman be the face of Bangladesh? Take a look.
I have a plan for the people of my country, for my country.
A major political shift in Bangladesh. Tarique Rahman, the son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia, returning to Dhaka after 17 years of exile in London. Upon arrival, he removed his shoes and reverently touched the soil of his homeland. The BNP leader and political heir of Khaleda Zia's party was greeted by a sea of supporters. He held a massive roadshow. Tarique Rahman then spoke with interim government advisor Muhammad Yunus. In his first address, Rahman recalled Bangladesh's liberation in 1971 and the mass protests of 2024. He condemned the murder of Osman Hadi, calling him a brave leader, and promised that a new young generation will lead the country.
71 সালে আমাদের শহীদরা নিজের জীবন উৎসর্গ করেছিলেন এই রকম একটি বাংলাদেশ গঠনের জন্য। কয়েকদিন আগে এই বাংলাদেশের 24 আন্দোলনের এক সাহসী প্রজন্মের এক সাহসী সদস্য ওসমান হাদিকে হত্যা করা হয়েছে। ওসমান হাদি শহীদ হয়েছে।
Born in 1967, the son of former President Ziaur Rahman and Khaleda Zia, Tarique Rahman is the acting chairman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. He started his political career at 23 and led BNP in the 1991 elections. He fled Bangladesh in 2008, alleging persecution, and was convicted in absentia on charges of corruption. Tarique's return was once considered impossible, but anti-India sentiment, a change in government, and pardons have paved his way back. With thousands on the streets, tensions over attacks on Hindus and Hadi's murder, and not to mention elections looming in February, all eyes are on Tarique Rahman. With Ashutosh Mishra in Dhaka, Bureau Report, India Today.
So what does Tarique Rahman's return now mean for Bangladesh's turbulent politics? Joining me now is Jyoti Rahman, economist who's been close to the BNP. He joins me from Melbourne. Shafkat Rabi is political columnist, founder of Centrist Nation, joins me from Dhaka. And Shubir Bhaumik, senior journalist and author who's tracked and knows Bangladesh inside out. Thank you all very much for joining us. Jyoti Rahman, you know Tarique Rahman and the BNP well. Is he the face of Bangladesh for the future and certainly of the BNP after 17 years in exile?
Yes, he absolutely is. You would have seen from his speech in Dhaka, he made two very specific points. One is that he's committed to peace and stability. That's the one thing that Bangladesh needs right now. That's the one thing that the people are crying out for. And the other thing he has said is that there is a plan. He has a plan. And this plan for restoring economic growth, plan for stabilizing politics, plan for restoring social harmony. These things, BNP has been formulating these plans. They have been consulting with stakeholders. They have been consulting inside the country as well as outside. So he's absolutely the face, and he's absolutely what is needed in Bangladesh right now.
You're saying he's going to bring peace and stability. Shafkat Rabi, do you believe it's so simple? Given the turbulence we've just seen in the last few days, there was another bomb blast yesterday. There have been these targeted attacks, including on Hindu minorities, and a general sense that the students' movement, particularly after Osman Hadi's killing, has only gathered further momentum. Is it easy to restore peace and stability overnight?
No stability comes overnight, but with the arrival of Tarique Rahman in Bangladesh, majority of the uncertainty around election and Bangladesh's democratic transition becomes inevitable. All the cloud around this transition is now gone. The country will move into overdrive and the election campaigns will start in full swing. And that's very good for democracy, very good for overall stability of Bangladesh and the wider region.
But an election without the Awami League, will that be taken seriously by the world community, Mr. Shafi there?
I mean, Awami League fled from Bangladesh. It was not something that the government or anyone did. So you cannot force someone to come back unless they do on their own. So that aspect cannot be lost in our analysis of the situation.
And also, I should add that the people are free to vote.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I should also add with what Rabi has said.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I should also just add that people are free to vote any individuals. The Awami League individuals are still in Bangladesh. They can run as independents. And if people choose them, then why not? So there is this fallacy that Awami League is not allowed to run or Awami League is putted out. That's not true. Individuals are free to do whatever they want as long as they don't have criminal charges against them, which is the case anywhere.
Well, the context here is that...
Shubir Bhaumik, you're listening to these voices. Do you really believe, Shubir Bhaumik, that with the return of Tarique Rahman, we're seeing the doors of democracy opening? Or is this now going to be democracy as dictated in a way?
No, I don't think democracy can be dictated, not even in Bangladesh. But, Tarique Rahman's return is a welcome development for the very simple reason that the BNP, which appeared to be in a bit of disarray, because, you can't fight a war without a general, and they have now got their general back home. It will be, of course, too much to presume that Tarique Rahman, who has been away for 17 years, can get a grip on the situation right away. As Shafkat rightly said, nothing happens instantly. You can have instant coffee, but in politics, there's no scope for, an instant sort of reward. But Tarique Rahman's returning certainly means that BNP will stabilize as a political party. They have some problems. All mass parties have this, 3-4 candidates vying for one particular constituency, factionalism, but it should not be overemphasized. As far as Awami League's contesting or not contesting is concerned, well, I don't quite agree with what, a friend of panelists have said. Awami League not contesting the election is something like Congress not allowed to contest elections in India. Nobody has fled. Awami League people are very much in Bangladesh. Some of their top leaders have fled, and they have criminal cases against them. So in any case, they can't contest. But if a party cannot contest with its own symbol, well, it says quite a bit about how the democratic exercise will pan out, but something is better than nothing. So it's important that BNP stabilizes and contests the elections, and there are other parties in the fray. It's important now to ensure that the elections are held and not postponed or deferred under one pretext or another, which we have seen in the past few months. That should happen. The elections should definitely take place on February 12th, with whatever limitations. It is an important thing to happen. And then everybody in the world, including India, can deal with an elected government. Sorry?
But Shubir, the concern has been in the past, the BNP, whenever the BNP has been in power in Bangladesh, we've seen also a rise in anti-India sentiments, or certainly relations between India and the Awami League far better between New Delhi and Awami League than they were when the BNP was in power, when Begum Zia was in power. Is there a fear of that? We've seen already a rising tide of anti-India sentiments. Will they grow? If the BNP were to come to power, would Tarique Rahman become the face of that?
No, I don't think Tarique Rahman, who has gained in wisdom over the years, will actually prop up anti-Indian sentiments. There are already a lot of anti-Indian sentiments there, which has been fanned to flames by, fundamentalist elements. We've seen that, how it has panned out. But Tarique Rahman, if he's serious about governing, I don't think he's going to, sort of prop up anti-Indian sentiments, because if he wins the election on its own, with the Awami League out of the way, there is no real reason for Tarique Rahman or the BNP to fan anti-Indian sentiments, for the very simple reason that Awami League is out of the fray. Most of the people, most of parties who actually fan anti-Indian sentiments in Bangladesh do it to counter the Awami League. We have seen that in the past. So there is no real reason for Tarique Rahman, and I think after 17 years out of power, he's much wiser now. Age has its own impact, and there is no real reason for him to actually prop up anti-Indian sentiments, because there is enough of it on the other side of the fence, because now he's going to contest, most probably he's going to contest against some parties like Jamaat, with whom BNP has been having electoral tie-ups before. So I don't think Tarique Rahman would really have any reason to prop this whole up. And we can hope that India can deal with an elected government, whoever comes to power.
Jyoti Rahman, can we be that sanguine about the fact that Tarique Rahman, will he be able to keep groups like Jamaat away? Will he take on groups like the Jamaat? Will he take on fundamentalist elements that are rearing their head in Bangladesh? Is he willing to do that? Or will he accommodate and appease them?
So we have to distinguish between the Islamist parties that are democratic, that are contesting the elections, versus other groups that are partaking in the advantage of a weak law and order situation. So the former, and Jamaat is included in that, if they're contesting the election, they have their manifesto, and they have in the past had something like 15-20% votes, or whatever numbers may be. The opinion polls suggest 20-25, whatever percent of votes that they get. That's part of the democratic fabric. However, the groups that are not democratic, that are not partaking in elections, I expect they will be dealt with in accordance with sort of law and order, improving law and order, stability, peace, harmony, all of those things. So one thing that has happened in Bangladesh after Hasina fled is that the police administration was extremely weak, because police were heavily politicized by the Hasina regime. So the police administration has to be rebuilt, and an interim government is not really capable of doing that anywhere in the world. You need a democratically elected government that has popular mandate to be in government for 5 years. Only they can do those kind of rebuilding institutions kind of things. So what you see in terms of Islamist violence in many
Shafkat
cases
Rabi, a
is
final
basically
word.
for them.
Shafkat?
Yes, sir.
Shafkat Rabi, a final word. Do you believe that the elections will be held on time now? Will they be held in February, or will they get postponed on another pretext? Or now that Rahman is back, it's almost certain elections will take place as scheduled?
Yes, so the man who was banned from talking to the public for 17 years came back to Bangladesh with 6+ million people in attendance, which is a huge political development in Bangladesh, and that will bring the weight of a major political party blessing the election and contesting the election in full swing. So we have no doubts that the election will be held. Major political parties will show up, and the government has repeatedly reassured that the February 12th date is confirmed. So all uncertainties are probably gone by now. Election will be held.
Okay, let's leave it there. We'll keep tracking the situation in our turbulent neighbors' politics, because it has an impact, of course, on what happens in this country as well. But I appreciate my guest joining me to tell us the importance of Tarique Rahman returning to Dhaka after 17 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's end though with a smile on everyone's face, because it is Christmas after all, and millions are celebrating in India and across the world, across communities. It's the festival of joy and good cheer and hope. And it's in that spirit that we want to end the show. And therefore, whether the VHP and Bajrang Dal like it or not, I'll end the show by putting on my Santa cap. I hope you will too. Have a great year ahead. Season's greeting from News Today and the entire India Today team. Bye for now. Jai Hind. Namaskar.